Hi there, this is your daily briefing. Just to advise viewers, if you hear any strange noises, that's His Lordship. So let's cover that. Mauricio Pochettino's return to Tottenham Hotspur appears as if it won't be televised. If we're going to learn anything from this last week and the whole debacle, it's not over yet. I'm not a fortune teller. I'm no seer of seers. He could yet join us, absolutely. But by the time this is all over, we're going to have identified, perhaps inadvertently, who we can't trust. And I'm not just talking about the straightforward thing. I've maintained all along that Pochettino's return to Tottenham would be a fundamentally bad idea, and others have grabbed somebody else's ball and run with it because the rumour started from a Sun exclusive. And I've said before, I don't have a problem with the Sun. I think what they do is good. I think you take it for what it is. But woe betide you if you then take it and, or if another person were to take it and then try and pass it off as something else. And I think there's where you run into difficulties. And that's what some people have done. And there's just been a lot of individuals and sort of so-called reporters, because I don't rate most of them as journalists, have decided to spin and spin and spin this. And I'll do a names thing when this is all over. But the Daily Mail this morning were actually putting remarks like has demanded to leave PSG, but this was just unsubstantiated speculation from other newspapers. So it's even trying to pass it off as, this is a quote, this is something solid, and it's not solid. There's nothing substantial to any of this, and we'll go round in the circle. But it's interesting that, and I'm not, hailing myself as some sort of intellectual in all this, but a lot of what I've said so far appears to have been right, and a lot of what other people have been saying appears to be wrong. So, wasn't Bank Holiday Monday in many other countries? That's the first thing to note. So, late last night, things started to move, and it was confirmed by Europe One podcast, which is pretty sizable. They had Leonardo, the former Brazilian player and now top dog at PSG, and he said, or mentioned in conversation, opposed to he didn't announce it, so it could have been done days ago, weeks ago, we don't know, that Poch's contract, there was an option for the club to expand it, add to it by a year, and that they've done that and that they're happy with it. But of course, he could be fibbing. They may not be happy with him at all. Internally, it's all about to combust, and Poch will be in Hotspur by tea time tomorrow. But I'm just telling you what the guy said on this podcast. And another Italian journalist here, Cesar Louis Merlo, says that, and again, big blue tick account, says that from the Argentinian cabal at PSG, that Poch is staying at PSG, which ties in with everything else we've had from anybody who was prepared to speak. So anything so far that's been speculation and hasn't come in the form of a quote, something, all this stuff that hasn't been tangible in any respect, that stuff's all been wrong, and everything where somebody's been prepared to put their name to something has so far been right. And what's curious is that, and I'll just draw your attention to this, because I did a blog not a couple of weeks ago, but say 7-10 days ago, and I referenced a journalist called Bruno Salomon that some of you might remember, because I think we covered it in one of these shorts, and he works for France Bleu Paris. which is involved with the Europe One podcast. So, you know, horses, courses and all that jazz. So I just thought it'd be curious to see where the bandwagon jumpers were on all this. Now, the Sun have done their business. They're onto something else, and they're lining us up with a move for Kane to City and Jesus to Tottenham plus cash. That's what they do. And as I say, I don't have a problem with it. Don't have a problem with that outlet at all. So I went to the Athletic to see where Jack pitt-brooke had disappeared to. And he's disappeared. Absolute silence. He's not published anything since he brought the world his exclusive. The one that, remarkably enough, aligned perfectly with the one from the Sun 2 days previous. Alistair Gold, what's he got to say on things? Because he hailed Mr. pitt-brooke as being excellent. Well, apparently Tottenham have run into a major roadblock, but have not given up yet. Well, that's a very mild way of doing a 180. That's a very gentle way of, you know, a major roadblock. Well, I'd say that's a major roadblock, yeah. And when it comes to the business of the manager and where he is going to be revealed or announced, Alistair told us, and this isn't anything personal against the guy, I'm just talking about how people go about doing their work and how, for your own good, you know, individuals can leave themselves exposed. And so where's the manager? You said it'd be, hopefully, you know, just about the end of the season. That didn't happen. And then you said that it'd be 7 to 10 days. That's not happened. I said it would be lucky if it would be by the end of this month. That's looking like it might have happened. Where are we today, Alistair? A little while longer yet. The problem is that it's all very well having relationships with press officers, but repeating them parrot fashion to people isn't clever, because the press officer is nowhere to be seen and the conversation didn't happen. There are no quotes, but you're the one wandering around putting out this information, and it clearly, I mean, on one level it's very successful because my video might be watched by a few hundred, and yours are watched by tens of thousands. But by the same token, this is junk journalism. And for those of you joining us late, I can't resist to mention that we've been here before with this guy, because this guy told us when Pochettino was coming to the press conferences looking like a relative had died and coming out with the berry happies and all the rest of it. It was Mr. Gold who told us, again, another one of these exclusives, that everything was calm at Hotspur Way at the club. So calm. 24 hours later, Poch was down the road, he was sacked. So it's looking increasingly more the case that Pochettino was never coming. Why didn't he come out and dispel the rumours? We've covered that in the previous clip here. And, you know, that if you're linked with something, it's a good thing, even if it's not true. So the real problem, once we move away from this nonsense, is who's coming. And there appears to be lots of noise about Conte. But isn't this going down the same path as Mourinho? Levy, from his comments, which we've all kind of read by now in that chairman's message, you know, it wasn't my fault, Gov, it was that nasty Portuguese fella. He flushed our DNA down the toilet. I can't apologise enough. In those comments, it was, if you kind of divined what he was saying, that he was kind of looking for a holistic approach, which is pretty amusing when you consider some of the half-wits and namby-pamby narcissistic psychopaths that we have in the dressing room. So I don't think there's a good answer out there. And people are just shouting names, you know, Zidane, you know, whoever. And there doesn't appear to be an honest answer. Small tidbit, moving swiftly on, is a Korean journalist who I have no knowledge of, is heavily suggesting on social media that the problem with getting Sonny to extend his deal, which incidentally he has been avoiding doing even when Poch was still with us, so this has been rumbling on for a long time. This guy says that Levy has offered him what effectively Harry Kane is supposedly on, 200,000 a week plus bonuses. And Sonny has been looking for closer to 250, 280 plus bonuses. Is it all about money? I think that everybody is starting to look far more closely at Daniel Levy. And I don't think money's the issue. Stability might be an issue. And the players will see the emotional collapse of coaches. They will see it firsthand, and they'll see the lack of interest and the loss of heart in the whole exercise. And he's seen it with Poch, and now he's seen it with Mourinho. And, you know, certainly Mourinho, but Poch as well, to give him his due, you're effectively talking about household names here. So it's not like, you know, two nondescript managers just happen to go off the boil at Tottenham. There's a pattern emerging. So I think that's just about it. But like I say, when this all falls out, I think we're going to find out who is trustworthy and who isn't, which is useful. Good luck. Keep it Tottenham.